What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode of A-Plus Morphinominal. It is I, your host, as always, Adam Perez, back once again, ladies and gentlemen, as we're here to go ahead and break down your week's news of Power Rangers and Super Sentai right here on our YouTube page, A-Plus Opinions. Welcome to A-Plus Morphinominal, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to see everybody here this weekend. I hope everybody has some big plans this weekend, but I got to tell you, just right off the top, guys, this episode of A-Plus Morphinominal this week is going to be bonkers. It's going to be pretty bananas here in regards to a ton of news and information that we have to get into. So, guys, before we even get into anything, I got to tell you, sit back, relax, enjoy yourselves, kick back, put your feet up, you know what I'm saying? This is our time to talk Power Rangers. This is why we're here, kicking off our weekend right. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? So thank you very much, everybody, for spending your weekend here. We got a ton of news that we're going to be getting into that honestly, depending on how you want to take this news, is really rather ground shaking. In regards to movement when it comes to a franchise and really its future sort of going forward. So there's a lot of speculation. There's certainly a lot of news that we're going to be getting into, and we're going to deep dive into it. Trust me, we're going to be covering everything because, listen, at the end of the day, guys, you know, I always try and be as open and honest with you guys as possible. And so don't mind me if I start to rant or start talking a little bit about what's kind of going on in my personal feelings in regards to everything. Because, you know, I always bring it to you guys 100. I'm always going to be completely honest with you guys in regards to that. So it should be a fun episode this week. It honestly should be a fun episode this week. So everybody that has joined us today, thank you very much. Let me go ahead and jump into the live chat. Let me see who's actually joining us today. Let's see here. We've got... man, I appreciate you guys coming through today, man. We got Zachary in here, as always. I appreciate you looking out for the Beast Mode for spoilers and things like that. Forever Grin is certainly in the house. Blossom, thank you very much for joining us. Johnny Marrero is here as well with us this week. Thank you very much for that. Anita coming through. Scott, thank you, Scott, for popping back up here today. We got Sam Snoswell. What's up, Sam? Good to see you in here. Tony Robinson certainly coming through. Zephyr's in the house as well. Edward Sanchez Production making their presence known. And I love how everybody's trickling in now. Doomsday. JB says what? Mike, what's up, Mike? Good to see you. The A Games 10 is in here. Am I missing anybody? I think I got everybody in here, man. So thank you very much, guys. I appreciate all the support and everybody certainly joining us this week. Listen, this is an episode that I tried to make sure that I was as prepared for as I possibly could be. I got notes up and everything today because I think it's really important that we kind of do a deep dive into some of the news that wind up dropping and really just kind of asking us the question, is this something that we can believe in? Is this something that we deem plausible? Is this something that just seems so out of this world and ridiculous that it just, why are we even running this story, right? I think that's really the sentiment I feel like that's kind of going out when I saw news dropping this past week when I was on Twitter and things like that. Then again, the Twitter sphere is as negative as it comes, to be quite honest with you. So it's really hard to find any positivity there from time to time. But you know, when it came to this article, I purposefully really tried to avoid watching other YouTubers and their opinions in regards to this. You know, I did watch... was it Deoxy 360? I think I watched a few minutes of his things and of his video. I believe maybe was it Japanime Talks, maybe like the first 5 minutes of his video. But outside of that, I've really kind of stayed away from other people just because I really wanted to kind of sit on this and think about it before I gave you guys my thoughts and broke down the news for you guys. That's why I didn't do a video earlier on the week, Thursday or Friday, when we wind up getting some of the Power Ranger movie news also. So I figured let me sit on this information, think about it over the past couple days so we can go ahead and present it to you guys and really talk about it. So guys, let's get into this, all right? Let's go ahead and start getting into our articles today. If this show runs a little bit long, I do apologize, guys. But again, get comfortable, and let's go ahead and talk about this. So the first article, ladies and gentlemen, that we have to go ahead and start talking about is that at the end of the day, the Illuminerdi has in fact officially dropped an article here. This article is actually letting us know. Hold on one second, guys. I'm just trying to make sure There we go. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull up this article. This article says Hasbro to end partnership with Toei. What this means for Power Rangers on television exclusive. I want to take this opportunity today, guys, to open up our minds a little bit. Let's open our minds and really look at the possibilities of really what all this can mean for us. All right. Let's address the elephant in the room here. The elephant in the room here is that this article comes from the Illuminerdi. I have seen people on Twitter attacking the website for just dropping this story, kind of calling them out, fake news and things like that. And I'll be completely honest with you, okay? When it comes to like my Marvel and DC news, the Illuminerdi may not necessarily be my first choice to go to, okay? I'm just being honest. I prefer like Variety, Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, things like that. But when it comes to Power Rangers, the Illuminerdi does have my ear a little bit. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Illuminerdi is perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not going to say that they are 100% right all the time. But I do know for a fact that I have at least seen Illuminerdi get at least 2 stories right. And again, that's just me personally. I'm sure some people can probably vouch for Illuminerdi even more than that. But for me, when they were part of that hashtag show, I saw Dr. K article confirmed, right? Real Soldier adaptation, while on first glance, it got the same reaction that this story did. No, came true. So, because of the fact that the Illuminerdi has my attention, I even said this when we talked about the Real Soldier adaptation, because I believe it was Joe that wrote the article. I said, listen, if Joe winds up getting this true, if this turns out to be true, and it did, it turned out to be Dino Fury, I said, you know what? Going forward with Power Ranger news, I will be a little bit more receptive. I will keep my ear open and pay a little bit more close attention, right? Here we go again. We're back at it. The Illuminerdi has dropped another story here. Hasbro to end partnership with Toei. What this means for Power Rangers? No, right? Like, that's the initial reaction. Don't take my Power Rangers from me, man. I can't take it. I get it. Change hurts, man. Change hurts. It's not news that we want to hear. But I will say this. The more I think on this, the more plausible it seems to be. I'm not going to sit here and say this is 100% confirmed. I'm definitely not going to say that until Hasbro themselves, the organization, actually confirms it. But to just dismiss this story, I think is a little ignorant. I think to completely dismiss the story, to me at least, just shows that maybe we're not looking at the bigger picture here. Maybe we're not connecting all the dots fully to see how something like this could potentially happen. So again, I'm not 100% confirming this, but I am leaning towards the idea of having an open mind that this certainly could happen. Okay? So again, I'm not going to say fake news. No, I'm not going to blast Illuminerdi. If anything, I'm going to listen to them because I feel this is plausible. And how is this plausible? Come with me. Come with me, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go down this road of this article here. Let's break this down, shall we? Let me go ahead and bring this up here. Let's go ahead and bring up this article. Hasbro to end partnership with Toei. It says the Illuminerdi has recently got word that Hasbro will reportedly not be continuing their partnership with Toei, including the use of footage from Super Sentai for Power Rangers television show. This means that according to our sources, Super Sentai will no longer be a factor in production for Power Rangers. Again, they're reporting it's not going to continue their partnership with Toei, including the footage from Super Sentai. So going forward, according to their sources, Super Sentai will no longer be a factor in production for Power Rangers. So this means any Super Sentai footage, no, not happening. Not happening anymore. Hasbro certainly wants to go ahead and cut ties in that particular department. So what does this mean? Let's go ahead and continue. It says, our sources are also telling us that this could mean 2021's Power Ranger Dino Fury will be the last season of the long-running franchise after their contract with Nickelodeon expires. I want to read that again, okay? Because I think it's also important here. I think it's also important here that you look at the wording, okay? Our sources are telling us that this could be, or could mean, it could mean Dino Fury will be the last season. So while the first part of this article is the source telling them, hey, we're telling you for a fact that we think Hasbro and Toei are in fact splitting up. The second half, mind you, is the source's speculation. This is just the source speculating that this is what it means. All our sources are telling us that this could mean Dino Fury will be the last season of the long-running franchise. So when I look at that, the beginning half of this article tells me that Hasbro and Toei are splitting ways and that Power Rangers is probably going to morph into something different. Something that, while will always inherently be Super Sentai and always be connected in that way, this feels as though Power Rangers is changing into something more, something else, something different. So while it could mean that Dino Fury is in fact sort of that last version of Power Rangers as we personally know it, I don't think that that means that Power Rangers as a whole is certainly going to end, that Dino Fury is going to be the end of the idea of a live action sort of Power Rangers series. That's not what I'm reading from this article. It seems as though the source is speculating that this could mean Dino Fury will be the last season, which technically would be true to a certain extent. The idea of Power Rangers as we know it coming to an end, but maybe if you could look at this as moving on to a new chapter, a new development of this series for it to continue to grow past the 25 plus years that we've sort of seen so far. So that's what I'm getting from this at the end of the day, okay? So I don't think Power Rangers is going anywhere. So let's start connecting the dots though, right? Like, why would Hasbro want to do this in the first place? Power Rangers is inherently Super Sentai. How do you make Power Rangers without Super Sentai? We've been seeing this utilized beautifully for so many years, right? Why would Hasbro want to go ahead and change that? And listen, if you want to go out here and think that this is fake news, that's more than fine. If you don't think that this is really going to happen, that's certainly more than fine. But understand, I do feel that Power Rangers is still going to stick around, but it is going to be I feel as though it could potentially be something different as we know it. So listen, why is this happening? Let's go ahead and put this together a little bit, right? Is this story plausible? Would Hasbro and Toei even separate like that after all these years? And so if you're on that fence of thinking that this might be fake news, let me at least present to you how this could possibly be more plausible than maybe some people want to give it credit for, okay? So let's start connecting these dots. This is where we're going to have a great time, and we'll get back to the article. Trust me, there's definitely more in that article to talk about. But I want to lay some groundwork here first, okay? When it comes to business, while I'm not a business major, but I feel like I know a lot of people that are in business, one of the things that I've heard over the years is to make money, you got to spend money, right? To make money, you got to spend money. Point number one, Hasbro purchases Power Rangers for $522 million. Means that they clearly feel that Power Rangers can be bigger than what it already is. All right. Let me go ahead and read you this article that we wind up having when Hasbro acquired Power Rangers. This is from Hasbro's chairman. He says, Power Rangers is an iconic brand built on the heritage of strong storytelling and merchandising, with tremendous upside potential with fully executed across Hasbro's brand blueprint. Shortly after entering our license agreement, it became clear that now was the time to begin investing in unlocking Power Rangers' full potential. Hasbro spent $522 million on a brand that they believe in. As a company, you don't invest $522 million if you don't have big plans for it. In my eyes, that means that they probably evaluate Power Rangers to potentially be worth more than $522 million, right? You don't spend $522 million with the intentions of maybe we'll make back the $522 million. No, you invest that money because you, at the end of the day, want to make more than that. And by doing that, you got to spend money to make money, okay? So the idea of the years of penny pinching, the ideas of maybe, yeah, New Zealand works perfect for our things and we can make this show for $20 million or whatever the case may be. Why would you want to make a show for $20 million and continue to do the same thing and penny pinch to not making a tremendous outcome at the end of the day, right? So perfect example. Let me use a comparison here, right? Disney went out and purchased Lucasfilm from George Lucas for like $4 or $5 billion, right? They spent that money to own the rights to it. What did they do right after that? They went ahead and they dropped $200+ million in order to go ahead and create a brand new Star Wars movie. They spent money to make money. So if you're Disney and you're spending $5 billion, but then going right back and spending $200 million, why can't you go ahead and drop $522 million on Power Rangers, and instead of the measly $20 million that you're putting towards the show's production, why not kick that up to $40 million, to $50 million, right? So I think we have to maybe get out of this mindset of trapping Power Rangers in this small bubble. We want more, but we want the same. What are we talking here, right? And I'm just talking as a Power Ranger fan, and for some things that I've read on Twitter, and just the mindset that I find for some people. So Hasbro wants to spend money to make money. So that's what they did. They purchased Power Rangers for $522 million. That's point number one. They have a plan. They want it to be bigger, okay? Point number two, I want to point out to you guys, and this will bring me back to the article here, okay? The other half of this article, it says, it's also important to note, let me go back to the article here. It's also important to note that production to the Power Ranger franchise has moved from AllSpark to another Hasbro subsidiary, and E1. This transition can mean multiple things for Power Rangers. E1 is known for the popular children's animated series Peppa Pig, so it's possible that an animated adaptation could be in the works. That was not explicitly confirmed by our sources, however. So the article talks about the idea of Hasbro moving Power Rangers from AllSpark to E1. And then they also refer to the idea that because it's known for its animation, we could get ourselves an animated series. And I feel like that's definitely plausible. I feel like that's probably something that we could get. But what I will say, and this is probably to the downside benefit of this article, to be quite honest with you, is that they really just shortchanged E1 for what they actually do at the end of the day, or what the purchase of E1 by Hasbro totally means. Like this article literally in a paragraph has taken the concept of Entertainment One, E1, and just focused solely on the idea of them dealing with animation. That's not the case. That's not the case at all. So let's again, connecting another dot here, okay, to open this up and widen this more, and to even give more credibility to this series, to this article here. There's an article over in Business Insider that deals from August 23rd, 2019, that deals with the Hasbro purchase of E1. It says 4 reasons why Hasbro's $4 billion takeover of Entertainment One makes sense. Does spending $4 billion sound like they want a penny pinch? They have big dreams, big goals. It says Hasbro has agreed to buy Entertainment One in a $4 billion deal. The toy maker's takeover of the film and TV studio and distributor promises to bolster its brand portfolio, accelerate its growth, and give it an access to $12 billion in content library. It says Hasbro can expand its brand portfolio and reach a broader audience. The deal will also give Hasbro new ways to reach audiences and new talented TV and film executives to bring its brands to life. And to back that up, it says buying Entertainment One will give Hasbro access to a vast amount of content. Listen to this. It says the Media's Group's content library, which includes about 80,000 hours of movies and TV shows and about 40,000 music tracks, was last valued at $2 billion. Armed with this media stockpile and Entertainment One's expertise in production and distribution, Hasbro could easily roll out a streaming service and develop original shows and movies showcasing its brands, fueling demands for toys and games. Does that sound like does that sound like they want a penny pinch for Power Rangers? The article literally said they moved Power Rangers from AllSpark to E1. So now it's a part of Entertainment One's expertise in production and distribution. Hasbro, if they wanted to, could roll out with a streaming service and develop original shows and movies showcasing its brands, fueling demand for its toys and games. It could also strike licensing deals with Netflix, Amazon, Apple, Disney, and other companies hungry for content. Guys, the article just says animation. Right? But do you see how big the purchase of Hasbro and E1 did? Are you seeing the possibilities here? Right? But we might want this to be fake news. The idea here is that Hasbro is making money. To make money, you got to spend money. You got to spend money. They spent $4 billion to get Entertainment One. They spent $522 million to go ahead and purchase Power Rangers. You think they're okay with the idea of just, let's keep this $20 million show over here. Let's keep doing that, right? They've got big plans. Clearly, they have plans. They want to do something big. And can I add something else? Let's just keep adding fuel to this fire, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Let's just keep doing it. Remember an article we talked about a few months back that they hired somebody? Do you remember his name? Michael Lombardo, named president to Global Television for Entertainment One. You know, we talked about this on APlus Morphinominal a couple of weeks ago about the idea of what this could mean, right? The idea of people being able to present this guy with brand new ideas and concepts for television shows. So Hasbro just picked up Entertainment One. They now own everything in regards to it. Now they want to probably start continuing to create original content and whatever the case may be. And they bring Michael Lombardo in, former HBO president of programming. That's where he came from. He greenlit shows like, what does it say here? Game of Thrones, True Blood, Boardwalk Empire. It says he also shepherded the development and production of the series Big Little Lies, as well as the first seasons of Westworld. I mean, this is what Entertainment One and Hasbro says. in regards to it. It says, Labardo, who was initially brought in as a consultant, will now oversee the studio's development and production across scripted and unscripted programming on the global basis. Following its acquisitions by Hasbro last year, E1 serves as the entertainment arm of the company and is charged with creating content from Hasbro's library from over 1,500 properties, including Dungeons and Dragons, Power Rangers, and Transformers. They literally brought somebody in from HBO who helped create a fantastic landscape for what HBO is now today. And they hired this guy to be president of Entertainment One, which now includes Power Rangers. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't just all about Power Rangers, okay? Trust me, Hasbro has a ton of IP under its belt and things that it owes. So this is a huge boost for all of its content. But it's hard for me to believe that Power Rangers would not be a part of that at the end of the day. So they bring Michael Lombardo in to now go ahead and oversee studio development for television and things like that going forward, making big moves to grow. That's the point. That's the point of purchasing a company. You know, there was an article that Jasmeet Bhatwali from Beast Morphers, he came out a couple of months back, maybe back in April or so, and he talked about, they kind of interviewed him for I guess maybe for season 2 of Beast Morphers, and the article was like what he reveals for what he personally wants for the future of the franchise. He says, this is Jasmeet Bhatwali. He says, the next season, I just want Power Rangers to become one of the mainstream shows again. Because as of now, it feels like something of a stepchild to Nickelodeon or to whoever. I just want Power Rangers to be what it used to be, which was amazing and action-packed. You can learn lessons from that show. The one thing I wish Power Rangers is that for it to become what it's supposed to be, or what I know it can be, which is a mainstream show for kids and teens that they can look at and relate to. It says he even compares Power Rangers to the Avengers because in a way, it's kind of like the Avengers. We're defeating evil. We're making sure everything's right. We're all learning lessons from each other. He says, just from that, I just want Power Rangers to become all it can be, which is like Riverdale, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which I believe just actually got canceled after 3-4 seasons. He says it can become one of those shows where other actors also want to go out for it and be like, oh man, I wish I was a Ranger. Oh man, I got to be a guest star. Well, I got this, I got that. I want it to become one of those shows again to our society and to all the millennials, because they all know Power Rangers, but some of them don't watch it because it's died out to them. They're like, oh, I've moved on to this or something else. And he just wants Power Rangers to make a comeback. That's what Jasmeet Bhatwali has planned, or what he could potentially see for Power Rangers. You don't think Hasbro has that intention also? And this might hurt some people's feelings. You can't get to that point with where Power Rangers is at right now. You just can't. You can't. And that brings me, ladies and gentlemen, back around to this article. Hasbro to end partnership with Toei. No longer using Super Sentai footage going forward. You can't make big moves if you're still connected with Toei. That's just kind of where I'm feeling. It's all about making original content and having ownership of a brand. It's all about making original content and having ownership. And this is the part that hurts. Again, this is just me speculating, guys, right? I'm just showcasing and trying to connect the dots to show why this article is plausible, why we shouldn't completely crap on the idea. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Fake news, maybe. But does it make sense? Does it make sense? So this is the hard part, because listen, again, I know tokusatsu is very important for a ton of people around the world. I understand how great, maybe not so great sometimes this has the partnership with Toei or maybe Saban might have been, right? It's Power Rangers is inherently Super Sentai. How can you take the Super Sentai out of Power Rangers, right? It's just not going to be the same thing. And it's not. But Power Rangers could still continue to certainly go on. I also want to make a point that this is not an erasing of history. Think of this as sort of a rebranding of something that you have. I feel like people tend to think of, and I'm not trying to get political or anything like that, okay? I just want to make a reference. The idea of like taking Aunt Jemima off of syrup, right? Or taking down memorials. Like the statues and things like that, right? Think of it in this terms. Taking those down and changing what is there is not erasing Super Sentai and PR history. Sentai will always be linked to Power Rangers forever. It will always be in people's memories. It will always be something that has happened. When you go into the history books, Super Sentai created Power Rangers, right? That's all that it is. And it doesn't matter what Power Rangers goes on to become. If it's Power Rangers, it's Super Sentai. Let's not make that mistake. I get the idea that, we're not taking footage and adapting it like that anymore. I get that. But also understand that this really could mean the removing of creative handcuffs that people have had to deal with for so many years. Whether it's creative handcuffs on Super Sentai side, whether it's creative handcuffs on our side here where we're developing the show here and things like that. You got to break us free, man. Break us free. If you want Power Rangers to get where it needs to be, I just feel like at the end of the day, I'm sorry. I know it hurts to hear this. I know it does because we love this, right? Power Rangers probably has to adapt to something. It's just one of those things we keep asking for more. We need change. Can we do something different, right? And now we have that opportunity to, but then we still want to continue to do our penny pinching. I will tell you this. I'm going to be honest with you. There are plenty of times when we've come here on APlus Morphinominal, we've talked about the potential of what Power Rangers could be, what they could do, what they could branch off into, right? We talked about this on the show. I've talked about it on Twitter, and I've seen on Twitter, I've seen even in our live chat, when we get excited about where we could see the Hasbro taking Power Rangers, what is the one thing that we tend to hear all the time? Oh, you can't do that because of Toei. Oh, Toei won't allow that because of this. Oh, well, because of toy sales, because of Bandai and things like that. It's probably not where they're going to adapt it. Because if I get that many no's from Toei, and you're telling me I can't progress with my brand all the time, why do I want you? Why do I need this partnership? Let me create something of my own. Original content is key. Ownership is key. And while, yes, I understand the fact that we love this fandom, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much we love the fandom, it's business. A YouTuber I watch, he says, it's not show friends, it's show business. It's show business. It's business. I don't know what the relationship is like with Hasbro and Toei. Who knows? Maybe Toei understands the idea of like, hey, you want to branch out. I really don't know. I really don't know. So, again, and who knows? Again, I don't know if this is 100% true. I don't. What I'm bringing to you today is just an idea of, it's quick to dismiss something, but I think sometimes we should kind of take a step back and just ask ourselves, is it plausible? And hopefully, I just connected some of the dots here to at least help you understand that our initial reaction shouldn't be to blast the Illuminerdi. And I'll also go ahead and even point this out, guys. You know, a lot of people, I heard some people saying, well, why are you dropping this news now? We haven't even gotten Dino Fury out of the way yet. Well, I think also things take time to develop. If they've purchased this, if they brought Michael Lombardo in, I wouldn't be surprised that if they have potential plans that they're already working on this behind the scenes. That while, yes, we do have a branch of Power Rangers in development for a television show, make no mistake, there's another team behind there also working on things. We may just not be able to see it. So, again, I think the mindset, and so let me ask you, let me just put it out there before I even, look, this could potentially mean that we wind up getting ourselves an animated series, right? It could also mean that they're going to continue to focus on the movie, and we'll talk about the article itself here, the movie itself too. But this also could mean that we wind up getting ourselves another live action, right? Speculation again. What if we talk about the idea that Power Rangers now is deemed towards kids? Why not take that same concept, that same level of writing, turn that into an animated show? And then why don't you give us maybe something that's a little bit more YA or a little bit more, high school, like actual, young adult sort of, a little bit more sort of mature at the end of the day for the older generation. Because, and I've said this before, it comes to the point to where 25 years now in this game for Power Rangers, you have a new generation of kids and people that are coming up with your franchise. So now you cannot rely just on pushing your franchise to one demographic. Now you really have to start branching out to be able to accommodate everybody. That's how you make money. To make money, you got to spend money. And to people that are saying, the reason why we're using the Toei footage is so that we can make it on cheap. I get it. But do you want to keep making it for cheap forever? So the possibilities are there. I mean, look, I would love to see an animated series, whether that be a focus on MMPR. I personally would love an anthology series. Give me a 10 to 13 season episodes, 1 hour each, maybe 30 to 40 minutes each episode dealing with a different team. Give me maybe like an anthology series. I think it would be easy to go ahead and do something like a Shattered Grid storyline if they wanted to. But again, they could also do live action. So I don't think this is going to be the end of Power Rangers. I think if anything, we're going to just get something different. Maybe it'd be brand new suits. Maybe it's still the concept of 5 Rangers, 3 Rangers that transform and use big robots against monsters, whatever the case may be. Just more original content in regards to that. You know what I mean? So the possibility is there. So I'm not going to read this article and just completely call it fake, because with everything that Hasbro has done up to this point, it shows me that I can go ahead and actually see this happening. And for me as a Power Ranger fan, that makes me eagerly excited for the future to certainly see what they could potentially be. From all the stuff that we just pointed out, we've already seen them using glimpses of original footage from Power Rangers. Maybe this is an opportunity for them to branch out and create more, right? The idea of maybe not just animated, maybe now animated and live action at some particular point in time. So let me ask you, now that I've spread that all out and I've given my case as to why it's plausible, right? For me, that gets me excited. So let me ask you then, what if this article is false? What if this article is false? What's the best case scenario, guys? Penny pinching. Trying to struggle to get cameos. Handcuffing our writers to having to struggle to adapt Super Sentai footage. You remember those people that were like, "Oh man, I really want a female Red Ranger." We gotta wait on Super Sentai to do that, right? I mean, And yes, I did see. Thank you very much, Zachary. First and foremost, let me just jump into here because Esty did go ahead and pop up in here, I believe. So thank you very much, Esty, for your time today. I appreciate that, man. So yeah, if this is fake news, who's celebrating this? I mean, my thing is, if you want Power Rangers to continue to do the same thing, and have Hasbro come in every season, hey, you know what, guys? Here's $1 million extra. You know what? Here's $2 million extra for this budget, man. Get some new lights. You know that set? We get that set looking great this year. Maybe just bump up those special effects just a little bit, but we're gonna keep it here, man. Right here on Nickelodeon for you guys. That $20 million, guys. I'm just saying. This could be false. It could be, right? I'm just trying to showcase to you that sometimes it's okay to look at things positively. And sometimes it's okay to be objective. And sometimes it's okay to be a little bit more open-minded. So my thing is, while I'm not going to 100% confirm this article, I will say for sure, to me at least, it's definitely plausible. It's definitely possible. So, I want to know what you guys think. I'm definitely leaning towards the fact that this is true because of the fact that I see the pieces. I feel like they have big plans for Power Rangers. And who knows? Maybe they do all of this stuff and they still throw that $20 million. Who knows? But I'm just saying, from everything that I've seen up until this point, it feels like it could happen. And so that's the direction that I'm certainly going to lean to. But guys, listen, at the end of the day, man, I want to know your guys' thoughts in regards to this. So let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below. I mean, God, we talked 40 minutes on that. I told you, maybe not 40 minutes, maybe like 35 minutes, but I told you we were going to get into it, guys. So let's go ahead and get into our next topic, man. Our next topic is that we actually have more from the Illuminerdi. So people are like, come on, what's happening? No more. Yeah, this comes to us from the Illuminerdi. This one is in regards to an update for the Ranger movie. So let's go ahead and break down this particular article also. There is an immediate update for this article. It says, we have a major update regarding this story. As mentioned in the attached video, our sources have told us that the upcoming Power Ranger movie will be taking place in the same continuity of the TV show. This means that the Rangers and characters throughout the past 28 years will be in the same continuity, as the new movie Ranger. So being in the same continuity, I felt like we kind of figured that already. I feel like there's not too many groundbreaking things in here, but some kind of cool tidbits. And I also want to preface this by saying, because they even clarify it in here. Now, to be clear, we are reporting that this script is in its current state. The script could very well change in time as the movie is still in pre-production, but we are reporting on what the script is as of right now. And that's not a lie. That's definitely not a lie. When it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to making movies, I've heard horror stories of people changing the script as they're filming, guys. Okay, so movies go through different drafts of scripts all the time. So for me, this is just simply fun speculation to see what could potentially be. All right, and I feel like that's probably what it should be seen as. I also want to, it says, according to our sources, we have who have once again asked to remain anonymous. I know some people were poking at that. First off, I think they only clarified it like that because people were asking who their source was from the very first story. And I think they had come out and said that they couldn't, that person clearly wanted to remain anonymous. They couldn't tell who their source was. So I think that's probably why they specifically clarified it for us here in this article. That's how sources work. Go to Variety, go to Deadline, go to Hollywood Reporter. Everybody in journalism or anything like that has their sources. So, and they're all anonymous. That's just again, show business. So that stuff doesn't freak me out like it freaks some people, because I come from, like, most of my mindset really comes from TV and movies, because I absolutely love that kind of stuff. So I would listen to a lot of movie podcasts all the time. So I know scripts change. A ton of reports out there, trust me, that say our sources are telling us. Trust me, everybody does it. It says, according to our source, Hasbro's new Power Ranger movie will feature an all-new Power Ranger team. Not necessarily just 5 Rangers, and it will include an original lineup of heroes. This just simply jumps out at me just because of the fact that at the end of the day, people have asked me in the past, Adam, if there's anything that you would like to see happen in Power Rangers, in the Power Ranger movies, what would it be? And I've been saying, please give me a brand new cast of characters, man. I don't want this to focus on our original 5. Give me a brand new group of characters that get pulled into this and become sort of our new Power Rangers. To begin with, it says, we are also being told that Hasbro is looking at a diverse cast for the film that includes different racial backgrounds and members of the LGBT community. They have plans to cast a female lead for the upcoming film. So, listen, the diversity, LGBT community, that's nothing new. Power Rangers has always been pushing diversity for years, so I'm not even blinking an eye to that. What I do grab a hold of is the idea of a female lead for the upcoming film, which I would be absolutely in love with, honestly. People have been clamoring for a female lead for the longest time. Let's do it. Let's do this. We also learned that Lord Zed would be the main villain. Great choice, if you ask me. We just did Rita. Let's not go back to Rita. If we're going to do somebody that's going to demand our attention, Lord Zed does just that. So if these details are true, boom, count me in. It says new details. It says our sources have told us that the upcoming Power Ranger movies being developed for Paramount will feature multiple different looks and Zords throughout Ranger history. This could possibly include a variety of suits and Zords from MMPR all the way to the modern era. We assume this is Hasbro's attempt to capitalize on toy sales. I'm not a licensing agreement guy, so I don't know how it works. If in fact they do go ahead and part ways with Toei, or a split up, or whatever the case may be, I would be fascinated to see if they could still use it. I mean, technically, I'm pretty sure Hasbro probably owns the library to Power Rangers, so they probably would be able to, if anything, reuse or recycle at least maybe the footage, perhaps. But again, I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate. If I don't know the agreement, I'm not going to put my opinion out there in regards to it. So if this is plausible, like when I think of this, I immediately think of the new group of kids coming back and maybe having a history lesson with Zordon. If Zordon is powerful enough to yank these kids from time, then he's probably seen different incarnations of everything that's happened when it comes to Power Rangers. So maybe this would showcase as like a history lesson, or maybe something even more vast than that. It says it's potentially going to be planned to film in New Zealand. No surprise there. I mean, New Zealand's becoming a hot spot for production as it is as of right now. Forever Grin says, sorry to make fun, Adam, but don't make a drinking game with your videos at the end of the day. I do say that a lot. Maybe I should just make a t-shirt. And then it just says another interesting nugget. We learned that aside from the movie, Hasbro will continue to make a major push on Power Rangers, or MMPR, I should say. And they're speculating perhaps animated. And they also, this is the last part of the article, it says, even though this may seem to be a dark time in Power Rangers history, we are at the Illuminerdi are confident that there's still good things happening. This also doesn't mean that they can never be another live action show, but as of right now, if there is, it just wouldn't be in association with Toei Company. And I heard I saw some people on Twitter saying, look, they're trying to backtrack from their words, saying that Power Rangers is not going to end. Look, we just highlighted the article. They didn't say Power Rangers was going to end. Their source was speculating that it could mean that Dino Fury would be the end of the franchise. So no, I'm not under the impression that is something that would in fact happen. What I will say here, though, let me get this. What I will say here, though, is that when it comes to the Power Ranger movie, They definitely are focusing on it. That's definitely a really huge push for them. I wouldn't be surprised, and again, this is just speculation on my part. I personally would love to see them get this brand new cast of characters, right? Bring them in to go ahead and become our new group of Rangers sort of going forward, really establishing something of our own. And then maybe once we get that movie, maybe that's when they'll start rolling out the idea of a new live action Power Rangers series. For me, the idea of a movie spinning off a television series, especially in this day and age, I think would be golden, to be quite honest with you. Whether or not that means that you would take then that movie cast and then maybe in between films, they would just go ahead and jump into doing, say, an 8-part series or something for a streaming service and actually turn into a live-action Power Ranger film, and then they jump back into their a movie that came out the following summer, 2 or 3 years later. It's possible. And listen, I'm not going to say it's not possible, because I literally just read yesterday from the Hollywood Reporter that Matt Reeves, who's making the Batman movie for WB, is also creating a spin-off television series from his movie. So they're already getting prepared. It's going to be like a Gotham City Police Department television show that's branching off of this movie. So they're doing it. Things like this have happened. Look at Disney Plus. They're now making their Disney Plus series a part of their cinematic universe, connecting those television series to the movies. So it's possible. Okay, it's possible. So I can see them really focusing on Power Rangers, the film, giving us something maybe animated, and then once that Power Ranger film, if it's in fact successful, we wind up getting ourselves an actual television series for Power Rangers. So I think the potential is there. Guys. But some of the things that I've heard, again, I don't feel like this article is earth-shattering when it comes to the Power Ranger news. Just some pretty cool tidbits that I'm actually pretty fond of. If some of these things actually do stick into that, the final script, I think it would be pretty cool. I'm still waiting for more of a synopsis and breakdown and things like that overall of this series. But in the meantime, it's not too bad to just kind of speculate and have a little bit of fun. To be honest with you. But yeah, I think that'll probably wrap up that particular story, ladies and gentlemen. So guys, definitely let me know your thoughts in regards to all that. I really would appreciate it. I had to go ahead and just get all that off my chest, man. I really do feel like just we're getting to a point where I feel like big things could potentially happen. And I feel like remember these articles, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm saying. Remember these articles, because I feel like this is going to be the pivotal moment for Power Rangers and the franchise for Power Rangers as we know it, in regards to what Hasbro decides to do, whether or not this will make or break the franchise certainly going forward. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they have in store for us. So please continue to be more open-minded. Let's not attack the Illuminerdi. Maybe they, again, it could all be fake news. It could. But just to attack and doubt without thinking the situation through is a little absurd to me. So just look, if I could put some plausible pieces together, I'm pretty sure you guys can also, man. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in regards to everything that's going on. Let's go ahead and get into some other news, guys, because we do want to wrap up, and we do have some of your live viewer questions that we want to go ahead and get into as well. Our next article actually comes to us. This is just simply a preview because, listen, we wind up wrapping up Necessary Evil, and Boom Studios is not done. Definitely not done. We have Ryan Parrott. We actually have issue number 51 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that's going to be dropping this weekend. So don't worry, this is simply just a preview, guys. But again, it looks as though we're getting into the aftermath of everything that happened with Necessary Evil. If you guys recall from issue number 50, the huge sort of bomb drop twist that we wind up getting with the arrival of you-know-who. And this is going to be a brand new creative team that we have on file. Not fully brand new creative team. We still will continue to get Ryan Parrott as our writer, thank goodness. But Daniel DiNicuolo has moved on to his other comic book. I believe it's Secret Seven. I believe it's called Secret Seven. But now we've got Moises Hidalgo that's stepping in to go ahead and do the artwork for this series. And they did go ahead and present to us some brand new looks at a couple of the photos that are actually inside the issue this week, so you can kind of get a first glimpse of Moises Hidalgo's work. Definitely significantly different from Daniel DiNicuolo, but I know it's definitely going to add its own dimension. I love this shot of the eyes inside the helmet. I love the way that he kind of represents that. So he definitely will have a different look. His action looks pretty frantic, to be quite honest with you, which I'm here for. And it's definitely going to be a new art style to certainly get used to. Again, these are just some of the preview pages that we wind up having. I'm pretty sure once we actually get the comic in our hands, it'll probably look significantly different. But it definitely looks grittier. Definitely gives a little bit more of a darker tone, it feels like. To me, it doesn't feel as bright and vibrant as we're used to. But I think that it could just be added to the idea of just his art style in general. So he definitely takes a completely different approach than what we're used to. But needless to say, I'm really eager to kind of see what they wind up having in store for us, certainly going forward. So yeah, those were just some of the couple of preview pages that we wind up getting. But yeah, guys, let me know your levels of excitement. This actually, let me just see what I believe they wind up having a brief little preview for it. It does say spoiler. Somebody has returned, and the ripple effects send shockwaves through every Power Ranger. Now the fragile alliance between the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Omega Rangers may be permanently shattered. So I do find it interesting that they are continuing to talk about MMPR and Omega Rangers. I kind of felt that maybe that was the last time that we would have seen them, but maybe the events of what happened in here do have some even more sort of lasting ramifications. So he's back. So we'll see what Moises Hidalgo winds up bringing to the table, because I really do feel like when it comes to art, it really is important. I think it definitely has to be a really great fit with the writer. So we'll see exactly how it goes. But guys, let me know your levels of excitement of especially seeing Power Rangers after the Necessary Evil and everything like that. So I'm kind of curious to know your levels of excitement going forward in regards to that. The next story that I want to go ahead and talk with you guys about, this article, we're going to jump into some Lightning collection talk. You guys know I'm not necessarily quite the biggest toy collector in the world, but I did see this getting some news and traction on Twitter, so I want to go ahead and highlight this. This one comes to us from Morphine Legacy, where we finally get the Lightning collection, SPD Omega Ranger with the Uniforce cycle. Yo, I'm so glad that they added in his Uniforce cycle. It was funny. I was just watching. What movie was that? Alita Battle Angel, and they had a unicycle in there also. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm really glad that they wind up actually doing this. I personally really love the design. Let me go ahead and showcase. They did go ahead and put together like some actual photos. This is the box collection artwork, which looks marvelous for the Lightning collection stuff. But I've always loved this costume personally. I love that he's just chilling on the bike over here. Sometimes when it comes to this, I'm a huge fan of different points of articulation, but I know sometimes body molds can kind of look a little bit funky, especially when you start adding all different types of articulation, just the way things can kind of bend, and you have to kind of design and sculpt, sculpt it around. So while the figure itself, as far as like the arms and the legs, they may not necessarily look all that fantastic, or may seem like off in size, I really like the way that it's actually come out and look, honestly, at the end of the day. Maybe it's just because it's in action shots and they actually decided to put some extra work in regards to how they're presenting it to us. But I'm actually a big fan of what it looks like at the end of the day. Again, I don't really collect a lot of these, but doesn't mean I can't. Doesn't mean I can't. So maybe eventually I will. This does come from us again, from Morphing Legacy. They do say here, Hasbro has announced a Lightning Collection SPD Omega Ranger figure, which will include his Uniforce cycle. It does say here it will retail at $29.99. That's not bad, I feel like, especially with the unicycle, and will be released August 1st, 2020. You can actually pre-order it right now on Amazon. 6-inch scale collectible Power Rangers action figure and vehicle. I think that's pretty cool, man. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, these were actually some of the press photos that were in fact released that we showcased to you guys. So yeah, $29.99, available August 1st. So if you haven't had the opportunity to go ahead and make your purchase, you can order it if you'd like to. And then really the last topic I want to go ahead and jump into for you guys, we didn't really have any Kara Major news this week or any other like big Super Sentai news, but what news that I was actually kind of interested in and fascinated in, this one actually comes to us from Tokusatsu Network, letting us know that Shout Factory has acquired streaming rights for Ultraman. I feel like they're really doing an amazing job, I feel like, with a lot of their properties, whether it be Kamen Rider or Ultraman this year, and bringing them over and really making them even bigger and more sort of recognizable brands, to be quite honest with you. I'm really impressed in what they've been doing. I haven't checked out Ultraman Z as of yet. I believe there's like 3, maybe 4 episodes out already. So maybe I'll go ahead and check that out. But this is what the article winds up saying. It says the deal will run multiple years and features more than 1,000 episodes of the Ultra franchise, as well as 20 movies. Some of the shows included in the deal, they need to go a ton of places, but a ton of different ones here. But this is what the press release actually reads. It says, iconic Ultraman superhero library to streaming entertainment platforms in North America. The multi-year alliance provides Shout Factory and its multi-platform streaming service, Shout, with exclusive SVOD and AVOD digital rights in the U.S. and Canada, including more than 1,100 episodes, goodness, and 20 movies. Psh. It says Shout Factory TV plans on an aggressive rollout of Ultraman pop culture properties on its new Tokusatsu streaming channel this year, including individual programs as well as complete series. As excitement builds, Shout Factory TV in collaborations with Subaraya Productions and Indigo Entertainment will announce additional news and activities in the forthcoming months, man. That's crazy. A colossal tokusatsu genre. Ultraman is one of the most beloved and enduring pop culture brands in the world. You know, I've seen the suit. I know the suit. I'm fully aware of Ultraman, but I haven't really even given it, actually watched it whatsoever. But they're doing everything in their power to go ahead and certainly make him explode over here in North America for sure. And why not? Why not? I'm all for it, man. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in regards to that. I love the bigger and bigger push for Kamen Rider and Ultraman over here in the States. It's about time. It's about time, if you ask me. So guys, definitely let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the live stream down below. All right, with that out of the way, let me go ahead and jump into the live viewer questions. We did earlier on today go ahead and post something over in our community tab for people to go ahead and submit their questions. There are a lot of repeat questions, I believe. So we'll go ahead and break this down, and then I'll go ahead and jump into the live chat with you guys. All right. So let me go ahead and go to these questions here. Doomsday says, what was your reaction to Hasbro and Toei parting ways? Originally, I was like, like somebody punched me in the face. I was like, what? Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't honestly didn't know what to make of it when I heard it. But I'm sure some people were probably swinging at their computer screens, probably yelling and throwing stuff when they wind up initially hearing about it. My first initial reaction was immediately doubt. I don't think that's. I feel like that's natural for a lot of people. You know, like no, no way. But once you kind of take a step back and you examine it a little bit more, it's definitely like a damn. That's possible. You said, what color scheme do you like the most? I always like Black Ranger in there. Like I don't mind Kara Major's colors, but you know what? Kara Major's colors is pretty cool. I do like the idea of like a male yellow. When done right, I feel like. You know what? My favorite color scheme is actually probably going to be Wild Force. My favorite color scheme is probably going to be Wild Force's colors. Yellow, white, red, blue, and black. Which season do you think had a better theme song? I've never heard the Time Ranger theme song, so I'm just going to be biased and say Time Force. I've never watched Time Ranger. JB says, do you think it's too soon to go the animated route? No, I don't think it's too soon to go the animated route. I feel like if anything, I guess the question would be, you know, what's held us back all this time? You know, if it's been Toei that's held us back all this time, give me an animation. You know, I'm just a listen, and again, no ill will towards Toei. That's not what this is about. That's not what this is about. I appreciate everything that they have done for Power Rangers, because without them, we would not have any Power Rangers. You know, for all these years. You know what I mean? So that's not any disrespect. I'm just simply stating that when you want your franchise to grow, you got to take it in directions that it hasn't been in before. And you got to take chances, and you got to invest, and you got to be confident in it. And so, animated too soon? No, not at all. Not at all. I think, you know, you probably want to continue to try and grow your brand. I would just say, if anything, just don't let animation be the only thing that's out there, right? If you're going to have animation that's going to be out there, at least let us know you've got something live action in the works, whether that be television or movies, right? Because, listen, I've seen some great animation. I've seen some great, Last Airbender. I mean, we can go to Netflix and look at some of their, Voltron, which was an incredible series that went on for a few seasons for sure. Castlevania. I mean, the level of animation that they're doing these days could really be something amazing. You know, you could keep animation if you wanted to I'll even throw She-Ra in there. And the reason why I'll throw She-Ra in there is the idea of, like, if they wanted to appeal to younger audiences with a younger animation style sort of thing, they probably could. But make no mistake, while I personally haven't watched She-Ra, She-Ra has been on for like 5 seasons, if I'm not mistaken. And grown-ass adults that I know that have watched the show, and people that I don't know that watch the show, have talked highly about the series. So I think animation, you can't just look at animation anymore as, oh, that's just something for kids. Because it's not. It's been proven that it's not. The different types of form of storytelling you can make in animation, I think, would be great for Power Rangers. And when you look at something with what Boom Studios is doing with their comic books and how amazingly well it's been doing, you don't think Hasbro's taking note of that? You know, how can we keep telling those stories? You know, whether it be in the comic books, heck, can't we tell those type of adventures and stories in animation form? Why not? I don't think it would hurt. I don't think it would hurt. So yeah, I don't think it's too soon. But again, I just don't want that to be the only thing. I still want them to be live action, and I do feel like there is live action. I don't think you spend $522 million in Power Rangers. I don't think you acquire E1 for $4 billion and then move Power Rangers to E1 to make an animation. Okay? So I do feel as though their mindset, again, when you spend $522 million, you're expecting that to eventually make you more money, to where Power Rangers is now worth $1 billion company or something like that, right? So that's where you want your company to go. If you're not branching out and trying to get different demographics, we continue to get the same old here. Do you think that it could work having the live action Power Rangers and an animated version as well, not just MMPR heavy? Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. You know, who knows? The animated could be MMPR, which I hope it's not just the focus, but if it is, maybe they can go on some crazy, I don't know, maybe further telling the stories of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, right? I'm hoping the comic book series continues. I know Boom Studios, I believe Boom Studios contract expires the end of 2021 also. So at least from what I heard, again, I don't know if that to be fact, but if their contract does end, maybe Hasbro moves those people over to animation, or they decide, you know what, we don't necessarily need the comic books. Let's go ahead and continue to push those same MMPR stories that we were just telling in Boom Studios. Let's just make them animation form, sort of thing. I don't see them ending with Boom Studios. I feel like Boom Studios is making Power Rangers even more relevant in a certain space, if that makes sense. So I don't think anything's going to happen with them, but you never know. But I think they probably see what's capable of branching out when it's not live action, and they probably are thinking, hey, let's do something. The A Games 10 says, I have an idea with this Hasbro Toei Split based on the info Illuminerdi gave us with the split as well as the upcoming movie. I need your thoughts. He says, my idea in short, what if Power Rangers Hasbro is basically making a new generation with this possible Hasbro Toei Split? Hasbro can make new original teams, seasons of Power Rangers in live action, like other countries have their own version of Sentai. And this upcoming movie could be the start of this new generation. Do you think my idea or theory is good? Is this any flaws? Obvious too much money flaw. And he says, I have a longer version of the idea on, and he winds up giving me the Twitter. So I will go ahead and look at the Twitter later, the A Games 10. But, I mean, I feel like your theory is right on par with what we were just talking about. I don't think it's the idea of too much money. You just spent $522 million. You just spent $5 billion to be able to create content. To make money, you got to spend money. And I feel like the idea of it's too much money is probably that mindset of, let's continue to penny pinch. Let's just, have we all turned into Saban all of a sudden? Do we think that Saban's only way of penny pinching his way through seasons has been the way to go all this time? Right? We have to have a bigger picture here. We have to be able to, and again, I'm just talking from like the point of view that I'm viewing this as, guys, is just like, if I'm Hasbro, right? I'm just thinking to myself, if I'm going to spend all this money to just get it, why am I okay with the idea of just sitting on getting chump change back to make my money back? I think when you bring in somebody like Michael Lombardo, you have smart people working underneath you to give you green lights on what to produce, what to not produce, what they think could be money makers, what they think isn't going to be money maker. If you can make some really good decisions and push some really good content through, Power Rangers could become relevant again. That's what we all want. Or at least I hope that's what Power Ranger fans want. Unless it's become an issue of people just want to hold on to what they feel is theirs. Like, they're entitled to owning Power Rangers. Like, are you going to pay $522? Did you pay $522 million for Power Rangers? No, it's not yours. I get the fact that it's the fans. We help lift it up, right? I get that idea. But make no mistake, the property does belong to Hasbro. So they have to make good decisions with it. And I just don't think a good decision is to not put money towards it. to make it better than what it could potentially be when Hasbro has come out and told us that Power Rangers is going to be a big part of what they have planned. So yeah, I feel like I feel like you could be right. I feel like this is probably going to be a new generation. Whether that be the new generation begins from this movie and then branches off with these characters to a new series, or maybe they keep those same characters and keep them solely when it comes to movie franchise, but yet they spin a Power Ranger live action out of this. For me, I feel confident that live action Power Rangers series will happen. So I think you're onto something also, the A Games 10. I feel like your mindset is just that of you're just thinking outside the box. You're just trying to put the pieces together. And I like the way that sounds, and I feel like your theory is plausible. Your theory is certainly plausible. Johnny Marrero, what's up? He says, hey, Adam, a few questions. With Dino Fury being the last Sentai adaptation season for the main show, possibly, do you think Simon Bennett will go all out on this season with a lot of original footage like Chip Lin, and Eddie did for RPM? I think so. I think so. Again, we're not sitting here confirming or denying that report, okay? We are simply stating that it feels plausible. I am personally leaning towards the idea of this being true. It is plausible. It could come back fake news, but again, it is plausible. So I don't want to say Dino Fury being the last season of Sentai adapted. We'll see. With Dino Fury being the last Sentai adaptation, do you think I still think that they probably will. Yeah, I still think so. I think Beast Morphers was probably just a taste, and that turned out to be really well for some people. Again, I haven't watched the last half, but everybody that I know that have watched it have absolutely loved it so far. So I feel like there's a lot of positive momentum going into Dino Fury, and I do think, if anything, they're going to continue to push that idea of original footage, original content, original storylines, using as little of real soldier adaptation as possible. When I say that, I still we're clearly still going to get the Zord stuff. We're clearly still going to get the action stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see a bigger emphasis, even more, on original content. This is really probably an idea of them maybe testing some of the waters, seeing what they could potentially do. And listen, who's to say that they don't continue to keep Simon Bennett on, regardless, right? I mean, who's to say? Just because if this is sort of the last season of Power Rangers that uses footage, I feel like as a writer, as somebody creative, you still want to put your best foot forward, because you're always going to need a job in the future, man. You know, you always want to leave a lasting impression so somebody can say, remember when he did that for Beast Morphers and then turned around and did that with Dino Fury? This is the guy that we need. So yeah, I feel like despite any of the news here, make no mistake, Chip Lin and Simon Bennett are probably staying as focused as ever on continuing what they have to do. What's happening behind the scenes, and what's being negotiated is probably a whole group of other people also dealing with some stuff also. So I'm pretty sure Simon Bennett and Chip Lin's main focus is, let's go ahead and knock this Dino Fury season out of the park. So I do think that they're going to do something spectacular with it. You said, will we get new live action PR content and animated content after Dino Fury ends? I do believe so, but again, I don't know how soon that will be. If some of the articles and some of the things that we've read happen to be true, that they really want to put an emphasis on this Power Ranger movie franchise and creating this movie, we may not get anything live action until that film. And then maybe after that, maybe they'll go ahead and announce something. Because again, a lot of this stuff that they're talking about in these articles of Toei and them splitting up, I feel like that's a little bit of a ways away for that from that actually happening. I mean, we still have the end of Beast Morphers to go. We still have a whole nother 2 years of Dino Fury sort of thing. So this, I think the reason why this news has actually dropped, or this information is dropping now, is because this type of stuff certainly does take time. Them bringing these people in, they're working behind the scenes to go ahead and adapt and create for the future. So again, while they're creating our TV show for us, make no mistake, there are people behind the scenes developing and trying to make things certainly go forward for Power Rangers. You said, do you think that Simon will bring back Austin or David Yost for Dino Fury as a mentor? For some reason, you asking me that question just tickled something about David Yost for me. He's been talking a lot, I feel like, lately about, the only way I would come back to Power Rangers is if I had a bigger role. I feel like he's been talking about that a lot lately. Maybe he knows something that we don't. I don't know. Maybe he knows something that we don't. Because David Yost has come out and said he would love to come back as a mentor, especially if it meant him having a bigger role. He's been talking about it for a couple months now. Maybe that's him secretly trying to tell us something. I don't know. I'm just assuming. But I feel like somebody will be back, whether that's in the mentor role, whether that be just as a cameo. I don't know, but I do feel like with Dino Fury, we probably will get a cameo for sure. Jessica Friedman, what's up, Jessica? Appreciate you coming through. If Toei and Hasbro split up, would you like to see them make the first all original footage Power Rangers season? And would you like about the rumor for the first female lead for the new movie? Well, with the female lead for the movie, I absolutely love it. I truly do. Weren't there rumors also that Tommy Oliver in Lionsgate there were rumors, right, that she was probably going to turn out to be female? I don't know if that was that ever confirmed? I can't remember if that was ever confirmed or not. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. But I would love it. I feel like people have been asking for it for a long time now. I mean, God, we got 25 years, man, and no female-led Red Ranger. Let's pull this trigger. Power Rangers has always been about diversity. This isn't about pushing politics. No, it's just we just live in a world that's a gigantic melting pot and made of opportunities for everybody. So it makes perfect sense. I have no problem with it. Bring it on, man. I've been wanting to see this. And at the end of the day, if it means that this is just open up the doors for other possibilities, yeah, why not? You also say, can I see them making the first all original footage Power Ranger season? Yeah, I absolutely could. Absolutely could. I'm pretty sure they probably learned some lessons. I'm pretty sure they're probably seen. My thing is, Power Rangers. I think what I found on Twitter, I can't remember who posted this. Somebody said that Beast Morpher season 1 cost production wise like $20 million, I think, to go ahead and actually produce. You compare that to a show like, say, I think it was, what did they say? The Flash, I believe season 3 was like $69 million or $70 million. Listen, if you want to put for Power Rangers, if you want to add $40 million, if you want to put maybe $50 million towards a season of television, I would be perfectly okay with that, right? And mind you, that $79 million went to like 22 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. So if you take $50 million and you maybe bring that down to a 10 episode series and really, push your show and what it can be, all original footage, give it to me, man. I mean, again, inherently, I get the idea of Power Rangers. There's something about seeing somebody in a live action suit of a gigantic Megazord fighting in the city and things like that. I get it. And that's what makes Power Rangers special. But I just don't know if it's something like that will transform into mainstream sort of more seamlessly. You know what I mean? So I think you probably have to start putting more money towards it, up the special effects. Let's get something amazing here at the end of the day, and not necessarily have to worry about sort of past footage. So yeah, I have a feeling that that's the direction that they probably want to go. I have a feeling that's probably the direction they want to go. Let's see here. Lupin Green. What's up, Lupin Green? He says, more than a question. He says, I just want people to know that this may not be a bad thing entirely. The split between Hasbro and Toei would open a lot of possibilities, not to mention that they can always make a new contract if they wanted to adapt Sentai seasons again. Ultimately, hoping for the best for Power Rangers and that the live action show can continue, even if it's a grown-up, fully American Power Rangers show, or with stories continuing in the movies as part of the main universe. Well said, Lupin Green. Absolutely well said. And again, when I look at this article, you know, I guess my first initial reaction isn't, you know, how dare you spread fake news? No, I look at this as, I can put all the pieces together. I've seen the acquisitions Hasbro's made. I've seen the moves that they're making. This lines up to why they would want to split up with Hasbro and Toei if you want to take this franchise sort of to the next level. It really removes a lot of handcuffs. And while I know, again, that it really will end a really long tradition of that connection between Super Sentai and Power Rangers, again, it's never going to erase that connection. Power Rangers will always inherently be Super Sentai, even though it's not sharing that footage. Super Sentai will always be encoded into the DNA of Power Rangers. It may look different, but make no mistake, it will be Power Rangers. Again, I am a big believer that not only will we be getting ourselves a movie, I think we probably will be getting an animated show and even a live action show. How soon all that will take place, that's the question. But I do think that they are moving the pieces that they need to behind the scenes to make this all work for themselves. So listen, look, we still have another season of Power Rangers to look forward to, guys. They knocked it out of the park with Beast Morphers, I feel like most people are saying. And so I know that the anticipation level for Dino Fury is still there. Okay. So let's continue to give Dino Fury a ton of our support, to show that we certainly still love our Power Rangers, especially if the show is good and continues to grow off of what it went ahead and created with Beast Morphers. So yeah, I feel like the future is bright. This doesn't make me feel worried. This, if anything, makes me feel like, okay, Hasbro, you're taking some chances. You clearly have a plan, and I don't think you make this move unless you plan on having Power Rangers as something big in your franchise or a part of what you're trying to create. So yeah, hopefully some of the dots that we connected earlier, hopefully will help people see things in that perspective a little bit clearer. So let's see. But other than that, guys, I think that is it for the questions. Oops, let me just double check here. Yeah, I believe that'll probably do it for all the questions. You know, sometimes we get those like late questions that drop, but I think that's everything. I'm just double checking. Yeah, that was everything. All right, guys, let me jump into this live chat. I know you guys are saying a ton in here. I may not be able to get to everybody, but I definitely will go ahead and hear what some of you guys are saying. Let's go through this for like another 30 minutes or so. We'll run for about an hour or so today. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. Forever Grin, going all the way back. Oh, I don't even know if that's all the way back, to be honest with you. Hold on. Let me go here. Yeah, I think it eventually like cuts off things. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I think it actually cuts off some of the that's weird. I didn't know it cuts off like when the room, like when it gets too packed. Like the idea that I can't go all the way back to the original beginning of the things. That's weird. It's all right. It's all right. Forever Grin says, is it wrong to want Lupin Pat now? For real. I think somebody said that Tony Robinson says, I don't think Lupin Pat will be received well by American audiences because of the suits. Yeah, I don't know if Cops and Robbers is a good pitch right now. Man, I wish it had kept some of these things. I know you guys were spitting some fire in regards to. What's up, Wilson? What's up, Wilson? Appreciate you coming through. Zephyr says, the way I see it, we got a few options. We could freak out and overreact, or we can take what we got and try and keep the franchise going through support. Sam says, I know the Illuminerdi YouTube channel. We do Power Ranger Cosmic Protectors and all that. Okay, never mind. JB says, Wes says, I was bummed out about the news, but when I did my video, I was calmer. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Heroic Gangster, what's up, Heroic? Says Toei has been sort of taking control of their licenses into the West recently, more so focusing on simulcasting instead of localized releases. Honestly, I'm worried if PR suits will try to be American instead of like the costumes. I thought I read somewhere, was it Ranger Liz? I think Ranger Liz referenced once that she said that some of the Beast Morphers costumes, that they had to redo them again because like those weren't the same suits or anything. They had to literally redo them again. And if that's the case, they didn't look too bad here, Americanized. But again, it just also depends on how much money you put in behind it, right? If we're in this penny pincher mindset of, oh, you know, we can't spend that money, that's too much, then yeah, of course, it's going to be, that's the issue, right? Is that what the issue has become? Is the issue really, are people that worried about the idea of how much money it's going to cost? We're not their accountant. We don't know what Hasbro and them can afford. If they can spend $522 million on Power Rangers, $4 billion acquiring Hasbro, and their profits and stuff continue to go up, I'm pretty sure they can spend a little bit money. So I think the idea of, I feel like the idea of not putting more money and having this penny pincher mindset, damn you, Saban, for maybe just making us a culture here of Power Ranger fans, of the idea that to make Power Rangers successful, you got to do something to save up the money, that you can't ever branch out and do something original because it's going to take too much. If you believe in your content, if you believe in your product, you branch out, you grow. That's how you grow. So I do think that I think we can create PR suits if we wanted to, honestly. But you're right, Heroic. Toei has sort of taken control. Who's to say that this isn't Toei's decision? Who's to say like Toei's like, hey, you know, we kind of want to take Super Sentai back, man. We're really pushing Kamen Rider and Ultraman. We really want to be able to push Super Sentai also. But the fact that it's connected so heavily to Power Rangers, you know, it is an issue for us. So maybe this is a mutual agreement by both, right? Again, another point that we made, removing the creative handcuffs. Zachary, come on, guys. We still have PR. Don't be afraid. Zephyr says, if the past is anything to go on, Power Rangers never give up. That's right. Blossom says Power Rangers gone after 27 seasons. I can't believe this. You know, listen, I will say this. I wouldn't say gone, just adapting, rebranding. Still Power Rangers. Maybe not Yo Daddy's Power Rangers. Right? Maybe not Power Rangers as you know it. Yeah, JB says what? Power Rangers just may look different from what we know. Not Ultra says it's definitely questionable for me for Hasbro to break ties with Toei. I feel like Hasbro hasn't earned back their $500 million back, so I am confused on why spend more money when the Sentai footage wasn't the issue in the first place. I think the main issue with PR right now is writing and how much it talks down to the audience. So my question is, how does not using Sentai footage improve the writing of the series? Well, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It doesn't necessarily improve the writing of the series, but it's got to make it a little bit easier. Do you know how hard it is to adapt a story? I would not want a job. I always feel it's easier to write an original story than doing an adaptation, because you got to take what you can and sort of like morph it around and things like that, right, into what it is. So it's not that you're not so dependent on it. It's not that easy. But the improved writing has happened for Beast Morphers, has it not? Didn't you specifically also say, Not Ultra, that at the end of watching it, while you weren't the biggest fan of, I thought you said, Not Ultra, that at the end of watching Beast Morphers, that you enjoyed the series, despite the grid connection stuff. I thought that's what you said, but maybe I misunderstood you. So the writing is okay, but I understand the idea of improving it, right? Who's to say they don't push that when it comes to Dino Fury, right? But that's still using Super Sentai footage. I get it. But the idea is, if you stop using Super Sentai footage, you don't have to worry about any of that. Any of that. It's one more obstacle that you don't have to use on. And I don't know when you came into the conversation, Not Ultra, but you said, I feel like Hasbro haven't earned back their $500 million. You think they're going to earn back $500 million on doing what they're doing now? That's my question. We've been penny pinching for years. In other words, that's like saying, you know what? They made a really terrible business decision buying a company for $522 million and not making their money back yet. I mean, not every company is going to make their money back that quickly, but it makes more sense to me to branch out, put more money towards it, create something new, create something different, bigger, that's more mainstream, so that you can recoup that money back faster than what you're doing now. Because what they're doing is not working. And it's not that it's maybe not even not working, but maybe not even moving as fast as it can. The example that I did was Disney went ahead and purchased Star Wars for $4 to $5 billion, right? Nobody told them, you spent all that money. Why are you going to be dropping $200+ million to go ahead and make a movie now? You know why? Because to make money, you got to spend money. They needed to get that money back. So how do you make that money back? You spend more money. You improve upon what you have. And in order to improve and in order to branch out and make Power Rangers bigger, you probably can't do that with Toei Company connected at the wayside. So the idea of money, I feel like we're worrying too much about it. We're not their accountants. They literally just spent $522 million buying Power Rangers. And then the following year, they dropped $4 billion. And to purchase a company that is gaining profit, to add to their company that's gaining profit. So the idea of going from a $20 million show to, say, a $40, maybe $50 million show doesn't feel like it's out of the realm of possibility. So while the footage wasn't the issue in the first place, you're absolutely right. The cutting the ties of Toei allows them more freedom to do what they need to. You don't have to use the footage anymore. And then you can create. Original content is the key here. Ownership is the key here. Not being comfortable and penny pinching is what we're trying to avoid. Because Power Rangers has been comfortable and penny pinching for 25 years. Put some love behind it. Put some love behind it and see where it takes you. See where it takes you. But then, mind you, by doing this, you're also allowing yourself, because you're bringing Power Rangers over to Entertainment One, which is a gigantic company that is great at producing, distributing, making film, making television, you now open up Power Rangers to be written by better executives, better writers, bigger writers, more well-known people. And maybe not necessarily more well-known, but people that are willing to go ahead and take a chance on a series or wherever the case may be. So I feel like what they're doing is they're putting Power Rangers into an area where it's a more recognizable brand and people will be drawn to it, so we'll continue to get better writers. So again, it's not just, hey, we don't want to use this footage anymore. It's not just because we want to break up with Toei. There's a potential there. So this separation could end up with better writers behind the series and pushing in a different direction, right? We talked about the idea of maybe we still get both. Maybe we get animated and we get live action. Who's to say we don't take those writers who are just doing Power Rangers now and move them to the animated series and have them have their fun in their playground or whatever the case may be, and we bring in other writers to work for something more or less along the lines of a live action. And again, while I'm spitting speculation here, I'm also backing up my speculation with facts that Hasbro has spent this type of money, that they are moving people into position to make better decisions for the brand. So I'm just adding to my speculation with pieces of the puzzle that have been dropped earlier this year. And I could be completely wrong. But again, I'm not saying that this is 100% true. What I am saying, though, is that it feels plausible. Tony Robbins says maybe this is a good thing because Power Rangers need a little bit of a shakeup from this kind of a stale format. Heroic says, honestly, as long as Hasbro hires an accurate Japanese suit designer, it'd be good with me. I don't know if they would. I mean, maybe they will. If they have really good experience in making some suits that are really going to be able to pop on screen. Because if you're going to be making, adding more money to it, I don't know if the Super Sentai suits cut it. So if they are going to be accurate Japanese suit designers, I want to be able to see them be able to take their game, certainly to the next level. Zephyr says, to make money, you got to spend money. That saying is immortal. And it's true. It's true. I mean, look, Hasbro just dropped $2 million this year, I think, or added a couple extra $1 million to this season of Beast Morphers. So they spent a little bit more, and they got, hopefully, a return. And hopefully that return is satisfied Power Ranger fans that will come back for more for Dino Fury to help make Dino Fury even that more successful. But if I'm Hasbro right now, if I have bigger plans to do more, I'm probably not going to drop $50 million on Power Rangers as it is now. I don't mind adding here and there to make what they are doing look better. But make no mistake, we're probably saving our money for what we certainly want to do with it. So who knows? Sam, what's up, Sam? He says, I hope Simon Bennett can do different for Dino Fury. Yeah, I hope so too, man. Directing-wise, I feel like he's been doing pretty good. Heroic Gangster says, penny pinching using Super Sentai and non-ambitious storylines and direction. PR, the brand itself, can compensate the live action costs, to be honest. Yeah, I agree. Zephyr says they want to expand outside the bubble. Absolutely. And again, we even highlighted the Jasmine Badawali interview where he said he wants to see Power Rangers branch out, become more mainstream. You know, being comfortable keeps Power Rangers from being mainstream. The same old is going to keep Power Rangers from being mainstream. You got to bring some life into it. Hasbro clearly seems as though they feel like they have the potential to do that. I mean, let me put this out there to you. Let me put this out there to you, okay? I'm not saying Hasbro was going to do this, but the Business Insider article that we read here to help add to the fuel for why Hasbro's acquisition of Entertainment One was a big deal and why moving Power Rangers to E1 was a big deal. The Business Insider article also stated that if with acquisition of E1, they've gotten over 80,000 hours of TV and like 40,000 hours of movies, that they could easily create their own streaming service. Hasbro could easily create their own streaming service if they wanted to. Think about this for a second. What if they use that streaming service as part of their opening package, said brand new Power Ranger original series on our E1 streaming service, Hasbro streaming service, all original Power Ranger series? Would you not be intrigued? But no, let's do this $20 million here. This $20 million, let's stay right there. Again, I get the idea of the news hurting, right? I get the idea of the connection between Super Sentai and Super Sentai and Power Rangers just for so long. How dare they break that up, right? I get it. But if it means it's at the benefit of Power Rangers to become something bigger, more mainstream, to make more money, but still have that embodiment of what Super Sentai and Power Rangers have always been, then I'm okay with that going forward. I'm okay with that going forward. It's definitely not going to feel the same. It's definitely not going to feel the same. Zachary says people are mad because they feel that the Sentai is what makes Power Rangers successful. And you're probably right. How could you do it without Power Rangers? Without Sentai? Well, Beast Morphers just showed you. They put a ton of original footage into that. I wouldn't be surprised if Dino Fury shows you even more original footage than that. They're trying to wean off. They're trying to wean off of it. So again, while Sentai is always going to be inherently Power Rangers, they can be mutually different. Super Sentai and Power Rangers will always be connected. It's in the history books. Can never remove it. Doesn't care if 20 years down the road we still got Power Rangers in a different form. You know what people are still going to say? You know, Power Rangers came originally from Japan's Super Sentai. And it's going to have 25 years worth of history to show people. It's still there, guys. It's still there. The A Game says E1 also has a lot of live action stuff, so don't let your hopes up for an animated series. They do a ton of everything. They do a ton of everything. Unfortunately, the article itself kind of limited to explaining that, saying E1, they're probably going to make animation. It's a lot of live action there too. Make no mistake. When you get a chance, go to the Entertainment One, the E1 website. Go ahead and do yourself a favor whenever you get a chance. Tony Robinson says, why do fans want to continue seeing Sentai adapted so they can complain it's still too kiddie and then do it again when they adapt another one? Blossom says, geez, oh, Rosie, this is a lot to take in. And listen, I get it. For those that are upset about the news, I get it. If you don't want to believe the news, that's fine. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It could be fake. It could be wrong. It could be wrong. But again, the reason why I'm talking about it the way that I'm talking about it is because while I'm not 100% confirming it, there have been things in the news, there have been things that have been happening with Hasbro that points to me that this is a logical step for them. And maybe some people want it to be wrong, but that's fine. But I guess my rebuttal would then be, if you don't want this to happen, right? And you want Power Rangers to continue to keep going the way that it's going. What is your long-term goal here, right? What is your mission? Where do you want to see Power Rangers go? And I mean, after all the things that we've talked about how we just feel if they made this move, where Power Rangers could branch off to, where could Power Rangers branch off to if they didn't? I'll wait. If doing the same thing sounds better than some of the things that we just laid out, then maybe you can convince me. But doing the same thing, this doesn't make any sense to me. Yusai says, Saban ruined what Power Rangers could be when they acquired the rights back. They scaled it back all the way to the laziness of the first few seasons of Power Rangers before the In Space bumped in. You know what, Yusai? I was just thinking that the other day, man. I was like, you know what? I feel like the Neo Saban era just took Power Rangers back like years. Like years. So, and maybe that, and maybe that mindset that Saban has had about the franchise has now gotten to us. Where we become a little bit lazy about the idea of pushing ourselves. I mean, all the stuff that I'm saying here, like, does it sound far-fetched? Does it sound stupid? Does it sound stupid to, now that you have a franchise where you have different demographics and a different set of generations of kids, that you probably should create content for a little bit of everybody? Can you keep doing that with just the one series? Again, I'm not a license agreement guy, so I don't know how it all works going forward in regards to this, if it does happen. But I'll be fascinated to find out, man. I just feel like saying no to this story not being true, just tells me Hasbro really has no plans and no intentions to do anything big, or that we're going to be okay with the idea of just keeping this franchise where it's stuck at. Sam says Hasbro era is brilliant than Saban brands. I mean, Saban brand does have some good seasons. It does have some good seasons. That's not how it does. But I do like Hasbro. Hasbro era so far has been good. I've really enjoyed Beast Morphers. So I'm right there with you, Sam. It will be. I do think it is brilliant so far. I've been really pleased. We'll see what Dino Fury does, but Saban has put out some good seasons, so some of my faves. Forever says, well, if that means they don't need to film in New Zealand, then I guess that could make sense. They could still film in New Zealand. New Zealand is a big hub now when it comes to film and television production. They're making Avatar sequels over there. They're making the Lord of the Rings television series over there. It's growing. New Zealand definitely is a spot for production right now. So they could still stay in New Zealand. Forever Grant says they don't need to be cheap, and past Rangers can actually get paid better to show up in season cameos. It's definitely always a possibility. You know, this doesn't remove the idea of being able to bring back cameos and be able to bring back past Rangers if they wanted to. I do feel very much like they want to push forward, though, and go forward. Make no mistake about that. They do want to create probably brand new characters, brand new suits, and make it their own. So I can easily see them doing that. More of a focus than a ton of Power Ranger coming back and things like that. Heroic Gangster says Takusatsu competition is rising up a bit by bit. Power Rangers needs to not be chained down. Absolutely. Absolutely. Heroic Gangster says, I just wonder what kind of animation E1 does, whether motion capped, CG, or simplistic. That I'm not quite sure. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they couldn't branch things out. You know what I mean? Um, so definitely a possibility. The A Games 10 says, I heard Hasbro did try a streaming service back then, but it failed. Does Hasbro want to try another streaming service with E1? I don't know the A Games 10 if they want to, but the article states that if they wanted to, they've got a ton of content to do it now. They got a ton more content now. By bolstering their thing with E1, they do now have a ton of content under them. If they wanted to start really doing that, they probably could. But I haven't heard anything about that being their goals. Mike Knight, what's up, Mike? Appreciate you coming through. Hopefully you're still here. Brian, what's up, Brian? He says, I don't want the TV show to end. Yeah, and I don't necessarily want the television show to end either, man. But if I honestly feel like if it means that we'll eventually get a television show that is where I need it to, like, to get a different television show that's original, I'm okay. Again, I don't necessarily think that the TV show is going to end. I just think maybe it's going to end in the format that we know. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Dino Fury comes out and that's the last of that Power Ranger Super Sentai connection, and then maybe we get ourselves a movie, and then maybe that movie says, hey, we got ourselves a TV spinoff here, a brand new live action Power Ranger show. Maybe it winds up dropping like a year or two after Dino Fury. I really don't know. But I do feel, I personally, in my opinion, I feel like there still will be a live action TV series. Whether or not that's something that's going to drop right after Dino Fury, or if they're going to work on developing it after Dino Fury, I don't know. But I'm still a believer that the show will be around, just in a different format. Ram Jam says, how's it going? I can see maybe an adaptation of Shattered Grid. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and throw out this theory, because, again, this is just a theory. I was just going over the movie news. You know, they were talking about the idea of, like, if they can go ahead and reuse, like, I don't know if they'd be able to use the suits and stuff. Again, I'm not a licensing agreement guy, so I don't know how that would work. If you cut your ties with Toei, what can you continue to use? I mean, Power Rangers has a huge library of footage, so I feel like that's probably the ownership of Power Rangers, of Hasbro. They could probably use footage however they certainly want to. Whether or not they can remake the original suits and things like that, I don't know. I would rather a license agreement person, somebody that truly knows the insides, to tell me if they can or not, instead of somebody just like, no, they can't do that. Unless you absolutely know, I would love somebody to go ahead and let me know a little bit more about that. Because I was thinking, if they had the opportunity to use some of the suits, it would be really great if we wind up getting, like, for the movie wise, like a Legendary Battle sort of remake, in a sense, bringing these brand new characters and things like that to from the future to the past, to maybe now get like a brand new set of Power Ranger powers, and then you have them sort of at the front of the charge to face off, with all these other Rangers, to face off against whatever this particular new threat certainly might be, right? It feels very Gokaiger, very like Super Sentai 199 battle, the idea of a new team coming on board. We trust you now, here are our abilities, sort of thing, kind of going forward, right? You can really make it a very last hurrah moment, really great, huge cinematic moment on the big screen, whether that be Legendary Battle-esque or Shattered Grid-esque, whatever the case may be. so that's where my mind went when I kind of read the article originally, but I stepped back a little bit because I don't know how that would work out, if that's even plausible, but that's where my mind went when I thought about that. Heroic Gangster says Power Rangers needs more oomph to me lately, even when watching other stuff, even cartoons. Yeah. Sam says, when's the new cast of Power Ranger Dino Fury? That I don't know. Probably I would assume maybe the end of August, beginning of September perhaps is what I would think. Like around whenever Power Morphicon was supposed to drop. So I think end of August, maybe beginning of September. I don't know. Kwaku says, preach. Hey, I appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Yusai says, I'm glad to see that Hasbro can finally do Power Rangers and do original content. As a fan of Super Sentai, I'm happy that that I have that series for what I fell in love with, but it's very Japanese and is built for a different audience. Yeah, it definitely is built for a different audience, but one that's easily growing here for sure. They definitely been showing that with the moving over of Kamen Rider stuff and Ultraman stuff. So for the need of Tokusatsu is definitely growing. But yeah, I think this is going to be, I think it would be a great opportunity for them to break ties. You know what I'm saying? I know this is something from Friends. I can't remember. Doomsday says, it'll be so weird watching Power Rangers without Sentai footage because I got used to seeing Beast Morphers having less Sentai footage since Go Busters was 2012, but I never saw a season with zero footage. Well, we have seen movies without zero footage. We still pay a ton of money to go see a Power Ranger movie that doesn't have a lick of Sentai footage. So it is possible for Power Rangers to succeed outside of Super Sentai footage. We've just seen it in a different format than it actually being on television, but it's more than capable of being Power Rangers. I get the idea of like if they were ever do a live action show, that yeah, it definitely will be a little bit weird to certainly get used to it. But I think people will be accepting of it just fine once it actually drops. Yeah, Tony says fans are being spoiled with Toei Sentai footage for so long. It's like they don't want to see Hasbro try to doing all American footage. Yusa says, as an American viewer watching our own adaptation, it should totally be more geared towards our sensibilities. The comics are proof of that, but rarely has PR ever exceeded Sentai while they were linked. You made some good points there, man. Some good points. Mike Knight, if Hasbro not partner with Toei, so that means not get Sentai suits. That is okay if Hasbro went on its own path. That's cool with the franchise all the way. Yeah, I think it would be a great idea. I hope that they do. I feel like I'm leaning more and more towards that. Kwaku says, for example, Transformers is an animated show and a movie franchise that is mainstream. Yeah, it definitely is mainstream. Transformers actually has a brand new trilogy, The War for Cybertron, I believe it is, or something like that, that's coming on Netflix. It's going to be like a trilogy, a movie or something like that, like banana stuff. So yeah, they've got that working, and they've got that in the works too for a big time film. I mean, my thing is like with Hasbro, you purchase Power Rangers, you purchase E1 because the idea here is that you want to be able to branch out. You want to be able to dabble some of your content into just a little bit of every type of media so you can continue to make money. But in order to do that, You got to spend money, right? To spend money, you got to make money. Don't be afraid to spend money. Don't be afraid to spend money. The A Games 10 says, another thing that is crazy, if this is true, they can't use the suits in Sentai anymore. I don't think that any suit before Dino Fury can be used anymore. Team-ups, no past actor can use the suits for Sentai, I mean. Well, again, I would love to see somebody from licensing agreement to tell me that. You know, I would love for them to be able to tell me that. And if that's the case, and regardless, if that's the case, that's fine. To me, that's okay, because I'm pretty sure they still own the footage. Like those Power Rangers shows that have all those, when Toei and them, they're not taking them off of Netflix. Those are still Power Rangers shows. That's Hasbro's footage. Hasbro should still be able to use that footage. So if they want to go ahead and pop those into the film as like a teaching lesson, it's possible, I feel like. But again, I would like somebody that, I mean, that sounds right, the A Games 10, that they wouldn't. But I would rather know from somebody that knows licensing agreements, and maybe you do, the A Games 10, I have no idea. But somebody that can really break it down, I would love to understand that better. Justin says it's fake. It could be. It absolutely could be. But I can tell you what, to me, when you put the pieces together, it feels like it's pretty plausible. And who knows, maybe this is just a spaghetti theory that Illuminerdi's putting out. The idea of, you know, taking a theory that sounds good, that sounds plausible, throwing it out there as fake news and seeing if it bites, right? Seeing if it bites. A lot of places do that. We got this covered, Cosmic Book News. I mean, they all do that. They all do that. So that when they do get something right, they can be like, yes. But the truth of the matter is, I've seen Illuminerdi get stuff right. I've seen Hasbro make acquisitions to bolster their content. I've seen them move Power Rangers from AllSpark to E Entertainment. I've seen the moves. I've seen the moves. I've seen the proof as to why this could be believable. So I'm keeping an open mind in regards to it. If you want to consider it as fake, that's fine. That's fine. That's certainly your prerogative. But then if my question again would be, if it is fake, right? Why is Hasbro even purchasing it? Why are they spending $522 million on something that they're going to penny pinch and put $20 million towards each and every year, and then hope that they get $2 million back a year? A little bit of a revenue here a year? Pour money towards marketing. Pour money towards production. And get it out there in front of it. Etsy again, show business. What's up, Etsy? Etsy. Appreciate you coming through, man. Yusai says, I honestly hope that it's true. Stop limiting the franchise. Sam says, hashtag keep Power Rangers. Yeah, I definitely think. Oh, Estes has been watching me for 7 years? What? Shut up, Estes. Really? I had no idea. Hey, man, whatever you're doing, Estes, over there, whatever you're doing over there, sprinkle some of that magical dust on me, my friend. Whatever you're doing over there, man. Hey, keep up the good work, Estes. I appreciate you watching me for the past 7 years. Definitely keep up the good work, man. Trust me, I definitely been following you too, bro. Justin says Illuminerdi, a complete fraud, lied about Toei Company and Hasbro splitting up Hasbro, and Toei never cut ties. You might be right. You might be right, Justin. You might be right. But I'm not going to call them complete frauds, because complete frauds don't really get stuff right. Right? And they have gotten stuff right in the past. I know they're not perfect. Do I go to them for my Marvel and DC news? No. But I know when it comes to Power Rangers, they tend to hit sometimes. So I'm going to be open to the idea. I refuse to do that. So I'm going to have the Illuminerdis back. And again, that doesn't mean that this is true. Please understand that, guys. That doesn't mean that this is true. But again, I feel like at the beginning of this video, if you've been here for the live stream, hopefully some of the things that I've laid out have explained why it would get to this point for them to split. Kwaku, what's up, Kwaku? Says, I like, me too. Something original is better than taking storyline from Japan. Absolutely. And if you can move your franchise and start having the backing of a bigger company like E1, having higher up executives given the green light on things that you know is going to make you money, do it. Zachary, ladies and gents, please breathe. PR isn't dying. It's going to be more unleashed. I like that. I like that, Zachary. Going to be more unleashed. I appreciate you being in the in the chats. I appreciate that. Heroic Gangster. Power Rangers is seen as cheap, kiddie, goofy. Yeah, tons of labels. Exactly. But yet, as Power Ranger fans, what do we say? We want this to be mainstream. We want this to be bigger. We want more people to watch it. Well, guys, they got to branch out to do that. Zephyr says, well, if it is false, I would be a little disappointed now because of everything we just talked about. I totally agree that PR has been in closed space for a too far long time and should break out free. Exactly. Right? The concepts and the ideas of this happening could lead to great possibilities and branching out Power Rangers to give us not just a show, but maybe an upgraded and updated live action show, maybe an animated series that's updated, maybe a brand new movie franchise. This is Hasbro's concepts because it's business. It's business. I know we look at Power Ranger as a fandom, but make no mistake, Power Rangers is also a business. And opening up these possibilities that I've presented to you, if you think that this is crappy, what is the positive outcome of this news not being right? Oh, it's fake news. We want to shut this down immediately. Okay. Well, if it is fake news, what's the positive outcome for Power Rangers? How big can you make Power Rangers? And again, I don't think you spend $522 million to be okay with Power Rangers being where it's at. Daniel, what's up? He says, I hope Hasbro mentions in the reboot shows us the Super Sentai Ranger that did not have Power Rangers adaptation. Oh, I get what you're saying, Dan. That would be cool. Because listen, I've always said, I would always love to see Zoologer, Q Ranger, maybe adapted, right? There are some great series out there that unfortunately may not get the opportunity to have their stories told. But yeah, if anything, that would be great. Esty says, personally, I would really love to see an animated action series, but living with an anthology series. We've talked about this before. I'm glad you brought that up, Esty. We've talked about this before for sure. Like, the idea for me, because of the fact that we have such vast amounts of Power Rangers seasons, I think almost the idea of just focusing on one group is almost doing yourself a disservice. We've built out the whole idea of multiverses and different dimensions and stuff. If Hasbro is paying attention to Shattered Grid and Necessary Evil, you see the concepts and the ideas of what you can do by focusing on several different teams at one time. So I would love an anthology series, 8 episodes, 10 episodes, 13 episodes. They can run anywhere between 30 minutes to 50 minutes or whatever the case may be. Each episode dealing with a different Ranger team. Who's to say that maybe after focusing on those particular Rangers, the finale can be leading into a big crossover event, or maybe season 2, you can lead off with other individual cartoon. You can lead into other individual Power Ranger teams and things like that to certainly focus on, so you can spread the love, spread the wealth, get some continued storylines from all across the dimensions instead of just focusing solely on one at the end of the day. So I love the idea of a anthology series, ST. That's definitely something that we're pushing. So I'm glad to see that you certainly approve of that too, man. I really love that idea. Cannon, what's up, Cannon? He says, if y'all want Sentai, you can go watch Sentai. If you want adaptations of Sentai, you have 900 or so episodes for that. Absolutely, absolutely. Again, it doesn't erase Super Sentai history, guys. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be there. Sam says Illuminerdi are some amazing groups. Listen, and Forever Grin says the main host is the guy from that hashtag show. I don't know them personally. I really don't know them. If anything, it is, I haven't always trusted their sources. I'm just being honest. I haven't. I did see an article from them over at the hashtag show where they interviewed Abraham. And I guess they asked them about like a power upgrade for like mid-season of Power Rangers, and they kind of like pushed the article to kind of sound like Abraham was saying that we could potentially get a power up for season 2, like Zoologer, because they had the picture of Zoologer on the front, if I'm not mistaken, thinking we were going to go from Beast Morphers to maybe Zoologer kind of stuff. And you listen to the interview, and he doesn't even feel like he hints at it. So, when it comes to that hashtag show, I've never personally have been a person that goes to them for my source for a lot of stuff. It's honestly just been recently within the past couple of years that a couple of the Power Ranger stuff that I've been noticing, a lot of stuff, some of the stuff has been coming together. It has been coming true. So, yeah, I again, when they've proven to me that they've gotten stuff right, it's an immediately, I'm going to keep my mind open, because you have been right before. It would be wrong of me to just completely crap on it if I know they've gotten stuff right before. They could be wrong, but they have gotten stuff right. So that's how we're just simply presenting it. Lauren says Dino Fury can save Power Rangers. I mean, it could. I'm pretty sure, if anything, they're probably hoping that Dino Fury gives them that boost of money that they need, more profit, have a successful run. Do Power Rangers dinosaurs? Who knows? Maybe their choice of dinosaurs was, maybe they had an idea that this was going to be the final one. So not only should we do dinosaurs, but let's wrap it up nicely and poetically, since the first season was dinosaurs. I mean, so yeah, I do think that Dino Fury can certainly help save Power Rangers, but to what extent, right? Is Dino Fury all of a sudden going to make it back to it being mainstream? We'll see. We'll see, Lawrence. But then I still think, even if it is successful, I think that's a great idea. But I still think you take that momentum into creating something of your own. Mike Knight says, hey, Adam, I think this is a good step for Power Rangers. Besides, people forget that Hasbro is known for big, giant-ass robots. Good point. Good point. Yeah, Eustace says, and this could even revive the interest in returning cast members. PR could even compete with Sentai, and how much of an honor it is to be a Ranger there. It's shown regularly in Sentai and that actors are. And who's to say that we can't even bring them back if we wanted to do an animation? Who's to say we can't bring them back to do some voice acting, to go ahead and reprise some of their older roles, or whatever the case may be? Forever Grin says, I forget his name, but the main host of Illuminerdi, Joe. I believe you're talking about Joe. I don't remember his last name, though. Daniel says, I hope they give us a sneak peek at what Hasbro has plans for their own version. I hope after Dino Knights Dino Fury, we get an animated version of the Power Rangers. Yeah, I don't expect, again, this news, while it is dropping now, I don't believe that this is something that is going to be dropping immediately. I feel like, if anything, this is something that's going to take a couple of years to certainly develop, because they do have Dino Fury that they certainly have to go through. So I don't think we'll be seeing anything at least for another year and a half or two, or whatever the case may be. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they, now that they know that this news is out there, maybe they'll talk a little bit about it. But I don't know if they want to take away the anticipation level for something like for Dino Fury. You know what I mean? Dante says tired of MMPR. You and a lot of people. Heroic says, oh boy, can't wait for the diversity arguments for Power Rangers. I don't bat an eyelash when it comes to diversity, because Power Rangers has always been diverse. So at the end of the day, it's like, it's just the norm for me with Power Rangers. Doomsday says, same old MMPR characters, Rangers, and allies will eventually get boring, so the fact that we could finally get a brand new lineup of Power Rangers and possibly a female lead really excites me. Yeah, it definitely gets me hopeful, Doomsday. It definitely gets me hopeful. It feels like they definitely want to go ahead and push this into a new direction. What's up, Enigma? Appreciate you coming through. I think we're probably going to go ahead and wrap up here. Now Ultra says, I did enjoy Beast Morphers, but I still have some Neo Saban writing to it that held it back for me. I get you can create more original stuff with no Sentai footage, but will the original stuff be as good, is my concern. And I think the only thing I would say to ease your concern is the move from AllSpark for Power Rangers to Entertainment One. I think is probably what eases my concern there, because I think that move opens up Power Rangers to being a little bit more attractive for people to maybe want to jump on board and maybe kind of push the limit and push the dynamic of what Power Rangers can certainly be, right? Because I think we're thinking in the sense of, okay, we strip out Super Sentai, but we're still keeping the same cast and crew and things like that behind the scenes, and I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think if anything, they'll probably take that franchise and move it somewhere else, where it can get more love and attention than where it's getting at right now. Dustin says, Infinity Attitude says he heard from a friend of his that Hasbro doesn't like adult Power Ranger fans. Do you think that's true or not? I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit worried with the fact that the one animation show credit with the company is Peppa Pig. Well, I can definitely understand the worry if that's their only animation. I haven't really dove too much into their animation side of things to see what else they've done. I think that's just one of the things that they've done that has become popular for Entertainment One, for E1 that they've done. But again, Entertainment One also didn't have the lineup that Hasbro does. So Hasbro now is bringing over their franchises. I mean, we've seen them. They're literally about to come out with a Transformers War on Cybertron that they've licensed out to Netflix. That's producing something that looks absolutely amazing. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be the ones to do it, but I would think if they have access now to content outside of Peppa Pig, like what do you do with Peppa Pig, right? But now that you have access to other things that Hasbro's providing, maybe you can do different forms and different types of animation. As far as do I think adult Hasbro doesn't like adult Power Ranger fans, I wouldn't say that they don't like adult Power Ranger fans. I'm kind of curious into the context of why he feels that they don't. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see that. That's just me, maybe. Enigma, do you think we might get a more mature version of Power Rangers because of this? Yeah, I do. I don't know how much more mature though, right? Is it going to be Stargirl levels? Going to be a little bit less than that? I'm thinking TV YA. I don't think it's like kids. I think maybe young adult, so you can push the envelope a little bit, but nothing too over the top. But maybe I'm wrong. Enigma says this is good news. Remember how Saban and company deviated from Zoo Ranger, and it turned out great. He says, Dustin says, I swear if I check my TV guide in the new series after Dino Fury and I find out the new animated series on PBS Kids or Treehouse, I will flip a table. I doubt it. I doubt it, Dustin. I doubt it. I would flip a table too, but I doubt it. I don't think that's the direction that they're trying to take the series. I don't. But I get the idea, Blossom. I'm worried as heck out of the franchise, but I sure do see what you mean, Adam. And I think we all have the right to be worried, right? Because it is new, it is different, it is change, and it change is scary, and you don't know where it's going to take us. So I get the idea. I get the idea. No, not Ultra. Not Ultra says, you said that it's difficult to adapt Sentai. I disagree. The Disney era, I feel like, did a good job at taking loose outlines of the Sentai and made it their own. No, I said I think, did I say that? Because I feel like if I said that, I probably followed it up with the idea of making original stories is easier than having to adapt. I feel like that's naturally easier. If you can create something, you don't have to worry about how do I take this and turn this around and then add this. Can we use that Megazord fight here? Where do we plug this in? Original is easier than writing adaptation. It's possible. It's not that it's not possible. You can do it. But I feel like personally making something original is more difficult than having to adapt something. I'm just saying, not saying that it's overly difficult to adapt it, but I'm saying writing an original Power Ranger story isn't going to be easier than that. What's the easier of the two? Now Ultra says, in fact, RPM proved on taking a Sentai completely ignored anything that Sentai did, and outside of aesthetic being the same. They made it their own, and it's completely different from the Sentai. It's not that hard in my opinion, and I feel Hasbro is overworking themselves on something that wasn't an issue. I think their issue is trying to continue to push MMPR vibes onto the modern season. Betty and Ben, I don't know, to me. I just don't see how this move will improve the current issues the franchise has. I feel like Hasbro just fixed some of the issues currently and then made this bold move. I wouldn't be that questionable. Fix the current issues with fine tools rather than going into them with a giant sledgehammer. Despite this, I am curious on what the franchise will hold, whether or not I agree with them. Well, now, Ultra, I think the idea of you saying I won't be that questionable. Fix the current issues with fine tools rather than going into it with a giant sledgehammer. Okay, so how long do you want to do that for, though? You got to make back $512 million. You think fine tooling? $2 million here, $1 million here. Let's bring in some new writers, pay them, and see what we can do. And you're right. RPM proved that taking Sentai and completely ignoring anything with Sentai did. Where's that gotten us, though? Is Power Rangers mainstream? Is Power Rangers still popular? Right? Do people still talk about it? Great RPM season, guys. Amazing. You proved, yeah, taking a Sentai and completely ignoring anything is possible. But where's the show at? Where's the show at? Because clearly what happened in RPM didn't project it to be where it's at now. I get what you're saying, not Ultra. I get what you're saying. And I trust me when I say I appreciate your opinion, man. I definitely value your opinion. Just giving some rebuttal, just a little bit of a pushback. That's all I'm doing. Because you're right. They can do great with where Power Rangers is at. But my question is, when you pay $522 million, are you okay with it being here? And it being here for what, 5 more years until you're ready to... Why? If it's your property and you have bigger plans and you can see it being something bigger, fine-tooling it is not going to get the job done. But what do I know, right? I'm behind a microphone and a camera. So yeah, so I'm just trying to look at it as a business point of view. I'm just trying to look at it from, if I'm spending this type of money, I'm going to do something with it. If Power Rangers had stopped at RPM, how would you have felt all those years ago? I'd probably be scratching my head in the sense of, man, I really want to, why aren't they doing anything more with this show? After it's a success, why aren't they making the show bigger? I'd be pretty pissed. Yusai says, yes, A+ opinions. I'm with the Kylo Ren mentality of burn it all down. But I mean, I get what Not Ultra's saying. But why fine tune when you can just fix overall? I mean, granted, you may feel as though the only problem is the writing that's keeping it from being successful. And you're right, the writing could certainly be improved for sure. But the writing isn't all there is to it, right? I mean, we still got to talk about marketing. You still got to push it. You still got to make it appealing to people that want to go ahead and get involved in your show. And where Power Rangers is at right now, maybe just isn't that appealing. Ratings probably show. The network that it's on probably shows. Jazz Media even thinks people treat it like the stepchild that it is. Like one of your own actors says Power Rangers should be even better than what it is. So while I think, yes, the writing is a problem, the writing definitely does need to change. I think on top of that, push it to the limit, man. Push it to the limit. What do you got to lose? Right? Blazo says, wouldn't it be cool if they let the fans ride Power Rangers too? No. 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 I mean, if they want to do like fan film stuff, that's cool. That's cool. But no, I'd rather people that have jobs that know how to write, I'd rather them write. I don't mind them being like a pool of creative consultants, but I don't want fans writing Power Rangers for me. Yusai says, it's a valid point, but let's be honest, it's very stagnant. Look at the footage they use. Having Japanese footage completely limits the location production of the series. Not just says, definitely good points made by you, but I feel like writing can do so much and bring in all different types of audience and opinion. And it does. You're absolutely right in regards to that, Not Ultra. It definitely does. But I guess the question would just be for me is though, so we had an RPM season that had great writing, that was original, and Power Rangers is still where it's at, right? So if we bring in writers to do that and we still use less footage or whatever the case may be, are we still just doing the same thing, right? So you're right. So you are absolutely right. Writing has a huge part to do with it. But I just feel like there's definitely more than just the writing that's the issue for the show. But yeah, because we talk about it all the time. This show needs better writers. It needs to be able to draw in certain audiences and bigger crowds. You're absolutely right. But also its location, also its production value, Also, where you're distributing it at. All that stuff really matters also on top of the good writing. So you're definitely not wrong in that regards, not Ultra. Disney just didn't care for what I heard, says not Ultra. And now we've got somebody that potentially does in Hasbro. And now they want to try and push this to the series, to the limit. And we'll see if it's a good move or not. We'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens. But it feels as though, while you just said Disney just didn't seem like they care from what you heard, maybe Hasbro does care. Maybe they do care. So we'll see what happens. Again, guys, I don't think this is something that's going to happen overnight. Yusai says, imagine a production that is on the level of Legends, Flash, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And again, I would even say even that. If they spent $70 million there, hell, give me $50 million. Can I get a $50 million show for Power Rangers? I'll take that. I don't even need 22 episodes. Some people probably would want 22 episodes, but I'm sure you can work around it. I just feel like the possibilities are endless. So yeah, I do feel this is definitely a new generation. For S. Chrome, he says, thinking about a new beginning, new generation. Hasbro uses Power Rangers American footage more than. Yeah, it feels like this could be the turning point for a franchise. Good, bad, we'll see. Is the article true? Is it false? I don't know, but I'm definitely leaning towards it being true. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this particular week's episode of APlus Morphinominal, ladies and gentlemen. With that, I think we're going to go ahead and sign off for today. I'm actually going to be doing an interview. Oh, you know what? I don't know if I'll mention this or not. I won't because not yet. I'll talk to you guys about it after it happens, because I do have plans after the show goes off air. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm getting ready for it and things like that. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for stopping by this weekend, as always, talking Power Rangers and Super Sentai news with you guys. I know this was a really sensitive topic for a lot of people, but hopefully some of the plausibility, some of the connecting the dots, and some of the conversations that we've had here maybe open up some people's eyes a little bit more and make them feel a little bit more comfortable about what's happening. I get the idea of this being a big worry for many people when this is what you're so used to for so many years, is what we grew up on. But understand that, yes, change is definitely scary. But sometimes change is needed in order to get your product to where you need it to be, especially if it's something that you honestly believe in, right? While I didn't purchase this YouTube channel from anybody, I still have to put money towards it in order to make the production value better, to make it a better show. You know what I mean? So to make money, you got to make money. So maybe this is Hasbro and Toei's way of breaking those handcuffs and allowing both of these companies to really flourish and see their true potential, instead of kind of being connected and maybe tied down to a certain extent with one another. Again, I don't know if this is true or false, but hopefully today we've been able to either open up some eyes, maybe strengthen your opinion on why this is a good idea or a bad idea. But again, at the end of the day, these are just my A+ opinions. And I always certainly want to know your guys's. I like to try and think that here at APlus More Phenomenal, and just our channel in general of APlus Opinions, we make you guys feel comfortable enough to be able to express your thoughts in an intelligent and smart manner, and not create backlash and disrespect other people for having different views. I always challenge people to certainly think out the box and really be open-minded and continue to try and connect some of these pieces. So we'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what happens, but this is definitely going to be an interesting part of Power Rangers and the franchise and Hasbro going forward. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that'll wrap it up for us. So listen, if you happen to miss this live stream, if you want to go ahead and continue along with this conversation, throw your thoughts in the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. We do not mind continuing this conversation with you whatsoever. And also, do us a big favor. If you haven't subscribed to us yet, hit that subscribe button, guys. And also, if you think you've subscribed and you know you've pushed that button, but it's not pushed anymore, YouTube does have a tendency of deleting subscriptions and things like that. So if you are looking for a new home for your Power Rangers and Super Sentai, or another home, feel free to go ahead, hit that subscribe button along with that bell notification, so when we drop brand new videos, you'll be notified. Also hit that like button, guys, if you love the content today and love this channel. We always appreciate that. And of course, follow us on APlus Opinions on social media right down there, guys. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch for you gamers as well. So until next week, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully we don't get any more crazy ass news that comes out this week that's going to stop people's hearts and cause people to go ape shit crazy online. Hopefully it's a little bit of a slower week next week, but regardless, we will in fact be back. We've got a Kara Major for you guys next week, some reaction reviews for Go Busters, and of course APlus Morphinominal next week. So in the meantime, do me a big favor, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep it A+. I'll talk to you later. Bye.